Welcome back to the best division in football with your boys Authentic and The Beard, the best television show not on TV. We are already here, y'all, at week 5. It is crazy. This season is absolutely flying by right now, and we got some big major matchups that are very pivotal moving forward here in the NFC East. You got the Giants who are traveling to New Orleans to take on the Saints and Spencer Rattler. That's going to be my favorite matchup of the week, obviously. The Commanders get the Chargers fresh off a loss to our New York Giants. Who would have thunk that right there? Cowboys are traveling to MetLife not to take on the New York Giants, but to take on the New York Jets. That should be an interesting matchup as well. You got Bo Nix and the Broncos traveling to Philly to take on Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. And then Thursday Night Football, man, the Battle of California here one time. You got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Los Angeles Rams. Should definitely be a great week, a great slate of games here one time. The Eagles are the front runners in the best division in football, the NFC East. You got the Dallas Cowboys who are sitting at 1-2-1. That's kind of surprising to me, especially with that tie where they put up 40 points last week. Commanders coming in at 2-2 with a win, y'all. These New York Giants got a real shot to stay in the mix in the NFC East. So I'm going to take it while I can. You know what I mean? This is a season where we didn't really have high expectations for the New York Giants, but here we are right in the mix entering week 5, and that second spot in the NFC East is absolutely wide open right now. But let's get to it. Let's bring in the best co-host in the country, my brother from another mother. Shout out to my Dukes one time. The Beard is in the building. Fresh off a loss this past week to Michael Penix and the Atlanta Falcons. How you feeling? I know last time we talked about things looking a little bit dicey in Washington. More dicey, or are we feeling a little bit more confident going into this game this week?
They're playing craps on every corner here in Northeast. That's how dicey it is. The magic's gone, my friend. The magic is gone. The luster has worn off. It's down to real life football now, right? You know, like we were riding high. You know, we were in fairy tale land for a long time there, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But now it's like, okay. This game is not played on paper, ladies and gentlemen. This is a friendly reminder. It's not even Jayden Daniels. Like, it's just like Mariota did a fantastic job.
Filled in extremely well, as we thought he would,
exactly.
Right? That's my GOAT.
Best backup quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so like, it's just we are the most consistent, inconsistent team right now in the NFL. That's what we are. That's what we are. We can't string it together. You can do one thing really well, but then you do something else really bad, and it was on full display against the Atlanta Falcons. And the thing that's crazy is that like that is the biggest difference, right? Like you talked about this being in second place in the NFC East, right? The Eagles are 4-0.
Yeah.
And they have not played anywhere remotely close.
We say it every year, right?
Every year.
And they got a new offensive coordinator again, right? Nobody's making up no excuses for Jalen Hurts, though, right?
No, they're 4-0, right? But like the Washington Commanders, you do like play like crap, and you have your backup quarterback. You don't have your number one wide receiver, and injuries are all over the place.
Absolutely.
And you lose by a touchdown. It's like that's the difference between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders and the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. That's why they're 4-0, and here we all are staring up from the bottom like 2+ games behind. So it's been tough, you know, and it's like you know how it is. Like there's giant overreaction is a staple of an NFL fan no matter what team you root for. Right, that Monday morning, it's or Tuesday, depending if your team plays on Monday. It's just filled with it. So it's like everybody is like, fire Joe Witt, Dan Quinn, take over play calling.
Y'all already on those vibes already?
They are. I mean, they are. It is over with. Cliff Kingsbury, why is Bill only getting X amount of carries? And it's just it's tough because you know we're going to talk about this a lot when we talk about the New York Giants and the Saints today. And it's like usually when teams are really bad in something, right? And it shows in their record. Yeah. And then usually if a team is really bad at something, let's say defense, for example, the Dallas Cowboys, it's easy to kind of pinpoint what's wrong. With the Washington Commanders, it's very difficult because there's not one thing that's wrong, right? And they're like, like Joe Witt tried man, he tried zone, he tried blitzing, he tried getting home with 4. Like it's just it's tough, like there's a lot of mini holes, and it's like it's like one of those ships where like you plug one hole, right? But then, there's another hole on the other side of the ship, and you go to plug that hole, but then you leave the other hole open. So we're sinking right now on the defensive side of football.
I have a quote that I almost just like live by that I keep in my notes, whereas pretty much if you save somebody from drowning in the ocean, it does not mean that they won't poke holes in the boat. And it seems like that's kind of where you guys are at right now, because there's not really one place that you can just blame the losses for the Washington Commanders. But let me ask you this. Are you, I don't want to say surprised, are you content with the way that they've played, with the record matching up with how they played? Do you think that that's a 2-2 ball club, or do you think that that team's better than the record or worse than the record says?
No, I think that it's a very interesting how you worded that too, right? Because you didn't ask me if I was content with how we were playing. You asked if I was content with the reflection record-wise with how we're playing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I would say I'm content, but it is on par. It is on par. Our record is on par with how we've been playing. And I think that we are a 500 team. And the reason why we're a 500 team is because we're the most consistent, inconsistent team, right? Like that's the definition of a 500 team, and it's like, if you want to take the next step, just so much of last year doesn't matter now. It's like you said, we're in week 5, which is shocking.
Yeah,
right.
It's flying by.
So like now, this is reflection week. This is when you look in the mirror and you need to come up and say, this is who we are. This is who we're going to be moving forward. You got bye week starting this week. Like there's a lot of stuff on the line here. So
yeah.
I wouldn't want to say I'm content, but I think that it's on par with the course of the play is our record.
I think you guys are a little lucky to be at 2-2, considering that your starting quarterback missed 2 games. I think that's the one thing. And not to say that like having Marcus Mariota out there is a drastic drop-off. I was actually talking with Mike Swan about it yesterday when we were running some Xbox, and he was like, man, it's like, a totally different team once you get Jayden Daniels on the field. And I was like, not necessarily. Yeah. Like, Marcus Mariota is basically like a poor man's version of him. He's successful on the ground. He can push the ball down the field. He's got the veteran savvy to be able to make the proper checks at the line. So, I know considering the way you guys have played, I understand where you're coming from as far as your feeling and your sentiment on the team. But if you were to just look at this from the beginning of the season and say, hey, we're going to have Jayden Daniels not out there for 2 games and still be 2-2 entering week 5, I'd say it's basically a win-win situation for you guys as a team that people thought you were going to regress this year anyway.
So let me ask you this question. Do you still think, based on what you've seen play on the field, do you think that the record would be different? Because last year, how many times did we say, you got Jayden Daniels, we got a chance to win, right?
Yeah.
But if you saw the way that the team played through the first 4 games, do you think that the record would be different than 2-2 if Jayden Daniels plays
I don't know if
games?
It would, but it could. Those maybe that 1 or 2 extra third down conversion in a game, or maybe the situations that we talked about in the first 2 weeks of the season, Jayden Daniels being backed up 2nd and 17, always finding a way to cut it down to 3rd and manageable after those 2nd and long situations. So maybe, but I wouldn't bank on it, 100%. Obviously, man, that's why they play the games. But, considering no Terry McLaurin out here, no Jayden Daniels out here, you guys just been banged up left and right here. We knew that defense was not going to be a front-running defense. I thought that your front would be able to find a way to get after quarterbacks a little bit better in these last 2 matchups without Jayden Daniels. And it's just been kind of a mixed bag for the Washington Commanders. But that allows an opening for the New York Giants here in the NFC East, along with the Dallas Cowboys, who, in my opinion, when you look at it from a record standpoint, the Dallas Cowboys are the team that I think is playing better than their record says. You score 40 points, last week, and you still come away in a game versus the Packers in a tie. That's kind of crazy. If they were at 2-2, I think that would reflect the team that we thought that they would be coming into the year. I won't say we, I'll say me, because the beard has what is the term we've been using for the Dallas Cowboys?
Disbeliever?
A non-believer. That's what it was, right? A non-believer. Not a hater, but a non-believer. And I've been saying that the Dallas Cowboys are going to operate a lot like how the Washington Commanders operated in 2024, which will be a front-running offense, but that defense obviously is going to be getting dragged by the offense, and that's their Achilles heel right now. So we'll talk about that when we get to that Cowboys game. I'm so looking forward to seeing your roadmap with the Washington Commanders matchup this week, which feels like a must-win type of game, not only for y'all, but for the Chargers who just lost to the New York Giants. I think that's a must-win as well. But let's start off with the New York Giants. I think this is a very intriguing game that a lot of New York Giants fans are expecting to win. We got the New York Giants traveling to New Orleans to take on the New Orleans Saints here one time.
Every time we step on the field to win. Every rep in practice, every one-on-one, it don't matter. The expectation's to win.
This might be the same team, but damn, if that video don't just get you a little bit hyped, seeing Jaxson Dart, seeing Dexter Lawrence, you got your fucking backup quarterback and Jameis Winston out here leading the team like he's going out there to start. It's a beautiful thing, and it was a beautiful victory last week for the Giants, who I picked to win by 3 points. They beat the Chargers 21-18. Saints are coming off a loss to Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills 31-19. It's 14-10 at the half at that game, so they were definitely in that game at the half. Saints held the Bills to 3 of 10 on third down. I think that's something to keep in mind here going up against the Giants this week. Last meeting, the Saints did beat the New York Giants 14-11. That was in December last year in 2024. Saints have won 3 of the last 4. Saints are favored for the first time this entire season. When we put together the schedule video that's actually pinned to the profile of this YouTube channel, I had said that this was going to be one of the 2 games that the New York Giants were going to be favored in. It opened up with the New York Giants favored by 1.5, and things changed extremely quickly, and the Saints are now favored by 2 points, man.
That's that neighbors effect.
That is that neighbors effect, absolutely. And people are calling this a trap game in the New York Giants community, which I think is pretty interesting. I think that the New Orleans Saints fan base is a little bit more self-aware than the New York Giants fan base is. Everyone in the Saints fan base, all the beat reporters, all the people that are covering the team, talking about the team, are saying the Saints are in a rebuild. It's pretty damn clear. Giants fans don't want to admit it, but we are also in the middle of a rebuild as well. But that win last week against a team that a lot of people are looking at as kind of like a Super Bowl type of caliber team in the Chargers, that kind of changes some things in the New York Giants fan base. You got Jaxson Dart coming out here, getting his second start, his first start on the road. Spencer Rattler, who I think a lot of people are overly sleeping on right now. Granted, he is 0-10 as a starter right now for the Saints, but that's just a bad team. Yeah. And, I encourage fans out there that when you watch quarterbacks around the league, take into consideration the circumstances that are around that quarterback, because Spencer Rattler is a guy that is very capable and could come out here and really just straight up blow the brakes off of this New York Giants secondary. He's got 5 touchdowns, 1 interception on the year, a completion percentage of 67.1. He's coming off of 49 yards rushing versus the Bills, so don't sleep on him as a runner as well. He's playing extremely decisive. His time to throw right now is at 2.63 seconds, and he's doing a good job of not turning the ball over. He's only been sacked 9 times on the year in 4 games, no more than 3 sacks in any particular game, and he's also being pressured on 34.1% of his dropbacks. He's been pressured 56 times in 4 games. That's according to Next Gen Stats. And the Rat has weapons. That's the thing that I think a lot of people are overlooking. Shout out to my dog, Marshall, from Chat Sports. I saw him just post like what looked like a play design that showed you each weapon for the New Orleans Saints at every position. And I forget the caption that he posted, but it was almost as if he was trying to clown the weapons for the New Orleans Saints. And I'm like, hey, pump the brakes here now. Let's not sleep. This is a big play offense with capabilities to make big plays down the field. They have not done that this year. But you're looking at Chris Olave right now, 6th in the NFL in receptions. The yards aren't quite there. He got his first touchdown last week against the Buffalo Bills. Rashid Shaheed, which is a guy that I swear to God nobody was talking about him when we first started talking about Rashid Shaheed over here on the parlay. Normally a big play threat. has averaged over 15 yards per reception in each of his first 3 seasons. But this year, coming off that injury, he's only averaging 9.7 yards per reception. The Saints only have 4 passing plays over 20 yards all year long. And I do think that's a combination of Spencer Rattler and his inability to truly see across the middle of the field and see, above some of those bigger defensive linemen. And obviously going up against the New York Giants, this is going to be a tough challenge for him. They also traded for your guy, Devon Vele. Hasn't really done much so far. They gave up some good capital for him, too. He only has 3 targets on the year, but Juwan Johnson has really been the guy at the tight end position, leads the Saints right now in receiving yards. But again, I've been seeing it going across the New York Giants community. Do not fall asleep at the wheel on Spencer Rattler. He's definitely a capable quarterback. And for me, on the New York Giants side of things, it's what wide receiver is going to step up with Malik Nabers out for the year. Darius Slayton should be that guy. He's being paid like that guy, making $33 million over 3 seasons. I liked how he worked the middle of the field last week against the Los Angeles Chargers on 2 of his 3 receptions. He had 3 receptions for 44 yards, led the New York Giants wide receivers in that department. He's averaging 15 yards per reception, but just 3 targets a game. So if I was just a box score stat watcher, I'd be looking at Darius Slayton saying to myself, we just need to give him more targets. That's really what it is, but it's not just that simple.
You got to get open, too.
You got to get open, that's for sure. And we got to, place that emphasis on Brian Dable to create that space within this offense. Wan'Dale Robinson, I think that the Dallas Cowboys game was a bit of smoke and mirrors where people thought like, okay, that's the wide receiver that we drafted in 2022. But outside of that game, he has not breached 50 yards in 3 of the 4 games? So just not a good look there. 6.7 targets per game. We need more productivity out of Wan'Dale Robinson if he's going to be a guy getting that many targets. The last 2 weeks versus the Chargers and versus the Chiefs, you're looking at 9 total targets, 4 total receptions for just 40 yards and no touchdowns. Jalen Hyatt, I don't know if you've been seeing it. I've been, on a campaign for Jalen Hyatt pretty much this past week, trying to get him motivated to go out there and understand what is at stake here for him as a wide receiver. Look, you got no Malik Nabers. Jalen Hyatt, just a year before that was drafted as the guy to come in here and possibly be a potential wide receiver 1. That has not been the case. He's got 0 targets in 2025. He had just 19 targets last year. He entered week 4 with just 6 total offensive snaps. Versus the Los Angeles Chargers, he had 30 plays where he was on the field, 15 pass plays, 0 targets, 0 receptions. You also got Bo Collins. He got a little bit of burn when Malik Nabers went out of the game last week. No targets for him as well. But understand the game plan. The New York Giants were playing with the lead throughout the entirety of that game against the Chargers, and I think that was a big part and reason why both of those guys got 0 targets. In the back half of that game, you saw Jaxson Dart, Cam Scatterbu basically trying to control the clock, keep Justin Herbert on the sidelines, and in result, that got us a victory. So I'm not looking for pretty. I'm looking for a W. I don't really care what it looks like. I am looking forward to seeing if the New York Giants are going to elevate Lil Jordan Humphrey this week to bring him in as the 6th wide receiver on the 53-man active roster. But more importantly, if he is active, will he get on the field? Now, no Malik Nabers, right? He's our guy. He's one of the best wide receivers in the league. But in my opinion, that's not a large enough excuse for the New York Giants to not be able to create explosive plays on offense. You got to find a way, Brian Dable, to create space for Jaxson Dart, not only on the ground. I want to see more space on the ground because at times some of these design quarterback runs were just getting stuffed at the line from Jaxson Dart, and at times he had to will his way to get the necessary yards. The Saints' pass rush is not all that great, so I do expect Jaxson Dart to just be more comfortable in this game. He was sacked 5 times last week. So I want to see us commit to the run, but also be a threat to throw the ball, right? I want to see Jaxson Dart play a more traditional quarterback game. Let's see some of the more quarterbacky things from Jaxson Dart. In my opinion, I just don't think 13 of 20 is going to be able to win this game for us on Sunday. Now, Jaxson Dart's obviously going to have to use his legs, but I'm just looking for a few more explosive plays down the field. And this number is surprising to me, and I know why it is surprising, but Wan'Dale Robinson right now is tied for 7th in receptions over 20 yards in the NFL at 5. Most of that damage was done in the Dallas Cowboys game, right? Yeah. But explosive plays are important to this offense. They're more important now with Malik Nabers out of the lineup. And Darius Slayton and Jalen Hyatt have to find a way to create some of those explosive plays. I think if we can do that, along with some of the creativity in the red zone that I know you're going to talk about, loved what I saw from Theo Johnson last week. We want to get him more involved now that Malik Nabers is out of the lineup. He did catch his 2nd touchdown of his career last week. that red zone play with the little shuffle pass from Brian Dable, Jaxson Dart to Theo Johnson, a beautiful thing. I want to build off of that and see the New York Giants get better in the red zone. We've seen it now with Jaxson Dart. It was just straight up abysmal with Russell Wilson in the lineup going 4 for 20 for 16 yards in the red zone. We see Jaxson Dart come out here and go 2 for 5 in his first game. It was ugly, but it was good enough to get the win. What are your thoughts on that matchup for the New York Giants here going up against the Saints?
That's the question that's on everybody's mind. You know, it sucks because you finally have this moment where it's like, you know, when you have Russell Wilson in there, you realize it's a new era, right? But the Jaxson Dart is the future new era, right? You finally, as a franchise, can just completely move on from Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones, right? And just the back and forth and the banter between fan bases and, you know, media and whatnot. And then you have your number one guy in Malik Neighbors, and it's short-lived for that brief moment. It's gone. So now it's like, how do you continue to build for the future? Not just, you know, in this game, but in, you know, moving forward, without Malik Neighbors and Dart on the field at the same time. So that's going to be the biggest question. You know, I'm a big Wan'Dale Robinson guy. I love Wan'Dale Robinson. I think he's a lot more versatile than what people give him credit for. Mm-hmm. And I think this year you're really seeing it, and you mentioned it, because of those explosive plays, right? Most of the time people think of Wan'Dale Robinson, short, intermediate, Wes Welker sort of style, you know, receiver, right? So I think he's much more than that, and he's going to have to prove it moving forward. Now, you talked a little bit about the Saints' pass rush, and I think they're a little bit better than I think people give them credit for. They have the number 8 sack percentage in the NFL at 9%. So 9% of their opponents' dropbacks are getting a sack on. So it's going to be important to keep Dart, you know, upright, in my opinion. And the run game has been improving because, you know, we talked about how bad it was. It feels like for forever. But the last couple of weeks, it's getting a little bit better. I mean, they're averaging 112.3 yards on the ground now, which is good. You know, like
that's for the Giants.
That's for the Giants, offensively. So, you know, like we're thinking about this Giants team being under 100 yards rushing, it feels like, for forever. So they're getting better. Now, you're going to have a little bit of that's going to be from the quarterback position. Now, the red zone is the problem. And I will give, you know, a little bit of this some slack because this is going to be a Jaxson Dart, Cam Scatterboot sort of team moving forward. So we have a little bit of, you know, data on them together. And
different personnel now too, right?
Exactly.
The first couple games, you're looking at Tyrone Tracy and Russell Wilson. A very different dynamic here with Jaxson Dart and Cam Scatterboot.
So it's going to be important to see if that change is going to be effective, because right now they have the worst red zone offense in the National Football League at 26.7%. Now, what's interesting is that they have the second most red zone attempts of any team in the NFL who's converting under 50% in the red zone.
That's converting under 50. And they were 10 for 30 with Russell Wilson and now 2 for 5 with Jaxson Dart.
Yeah, so
it doubled up.
It's going to be important because you're going up against the New Orleans Saints, and they have the third worst red zone defense in the National Football League. It's 76.9%. So this is going to be the big theme for the New York Giants in this game. There's going to be a lot of things that match up that the Giants are not good in, that the Saints are not good in on the other side. So it's going to be to who can be better at what they're not good at in this game. That's what's going to be very important. And I think one of the other things, too, that we look at with the New York Giants is how bad they are on third downs. Okay? They're the 5th worst third down team in the National Football League at 32.7%. So it's very important for them to be better on first and second down because they have the third most third downs in the NFL this year. So that tells me that things aren't working really well on first and second down, right?
And some of that data, obviously, a little skewed with Russell Wilson.
Exactly.
You know, you don't have that running threat with the Jaxson Dart to be able to convert on third and fourth.
These are the things that I have my eyes on to see if there's going to be improvement with the new personnel. And these are the things that you're going to have to be improving on, not only just if you want to win this game against the New Orleans Saints, but if you guys want to, you know, continue to win games. And not even just because you said it, the expectations, right?
Yeah.
You come into this season, you're not expecting to make the playoffs. You're not expecting to win a Super Bowl, right? But now that you have Jaxson Dart in there, you're expecting to see improvement.
Yeah.
from the quarterback position, from the running back position, because you have seen some improvement in that last game defensively for the New York Giants, with that back end going up against a juggernaut. I'm going to say it, a juggernaut of a quarterback in Justin Herbert. Mm-hmm. The New York Giants defense performed against a really good offense. It's not like you were playing a really bad offense and you performed. You performed against a really good offense. And that's what's going to be super important, because the Saints defense is not very good in some categories. They allow a lot of points, third worst red zone. They allow the second highest passing touchdown percentage at 8.8%.
That's what I like to hear.
So I think this is a game. That's why everything kind of comes full circle. Who's going to step up at that wide receiver position for the New York Giants? Because I think Jaxson Dart has an opportunity in this game to throw for 3 touchdowns.
I love to hear that right there. And you want that momentum that we saw in the preseason to enter the regular season. And last week against the Chargers, we really didn't see that offensively, right? You saw a more restricted game plan at the quarterback position to try to just get what is necessary done to go out there and win the games. The Saints are allowing teams to score a lot of points right now, 30.3 points per game. That's 30th in the NFL. It's not quite Dallas Cowboys territory, but it's right up there with it, okay?
Look who's throwing strays at the Cowboys. It's not the beard this time.
What can I say? They've allowed 25 points in 3 of their 4 games. The Seahawks put 44 on their head in week 3, 38 points in the first half of that fucking game. The Bills put up 31 last week. The Saints have been down at the half in every game this season. So, again, the Giants got to find a way to keep that trend going of getting on the scoreboard early and keeping that lead throughout the game. I want to see a repeat performance from this defensive line. I'm not necessarily – because takeaways are going to be super important, but I just don't think that this is going to be that kind of game. Spencer Rattler has done a good job taking care of the football. They got some weapons out there. I don't think this is going to be like a 2-takeaway type of game like it was last week for the Giants defense. But as far as getting after the quarterback, 27 pressures, 2 sacks, 14 hurries, and 11 quarterback hits last week against Justin Herbert. I want to see more pressure against Spencer Rattler, a quarterback that is a bit less decisive, probably equally as mobile, but I think that we have an opportunity here to be able to have back-to-back weeks of impressive performances from that New York Giants defensive front here. Now, the most important part of last week, in my opinion, was playing with the lead. The Giants scored on the opening drive, and then they played with the lead throughout the whole entire game. They forced Justin Herbert to throw the ball 41 times last week. Some of that you can put on Harbaugh and his ego of just wanting to come out and just throw the ball a shit ton from the jump, because 26 of the attempts were in the first half. Now, but most of it was being out-coached by Brian Daboll and this New York Giants coaching staff. I got to give Shane Bowen his props on that as well, but most importantly, maintaining that lead. You want to force Spencer Rattler to drop back a lot and throw the ball a ton, just like we did with Justin Herbert last week. And Spencer Rattler has thrown over 33 attempts in 3 of the 4 games and has not passed for over 220 yards in a single game this year. You're talking about games where he has over 40 attempts and he still has not breached 220. So I'm not necessarily worried about the matchup with the wide receiver core going up against our secondary that a lot of people have question marks with, guys like Paulson Adebo. I think that this front is going to have a day getting after the quarterback, and that in return is going to help the back half of this defense. Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau have been playing lights out football so far, and they're building incredible chemistry in the 2025 season. Brian Burns leads the NFL in sacks right now with 5. He's one of 2 players in the NFL with a sack in each of the first 4 games. Byron Young's the only other guy that has that exact same accomplishment. Kayvon Thibodeau has 2.5 sacks on the season, which is 27th in the NFL. So if you can have your 2 edge rushers be top 32 in the NFL, that's a win-win situation. Right?
That's what every team wants.
That's exactly what every team wants. And that's what we wanted when we brought in Brian Burns last year. And I talked about this on the overreaction about, last year, a lot of people misconstrued my criticism about Brian Burns as, oh man, Authentic is saying Brian Burns is not good enough. More importantly, what it was is living up to that $28 million a year. You cannot be an average player or just above average when you're getting that kind of money. You got to be a straight-up dog. And Brian Burns came into the 2025 season with that emphasis, and he's showing up. So he gets major props. Both of them have 17 pressures on the season. Both, not together, both of them individually.
I'll
with
take a
Kayvon
few of
Thibodeau and
those
Brian
for
Burns.
my team.
Listen, those are men on fire right now. That's what I've been calling those two. It's 14th in the NFL in pressures. The Giants have 2 guys in the top 15 in pressures right now, which is just exactly what we thought we were going to get from those 2 guys, along with Abdul Carter, coming into this season. But stopping the run, the Giants are still having some issues right now. They're allowing 153 rushing yards per game. It's 29th in the NFL. And on the road, thanks in large part to the Washington Commanders, the Giants are allowing 177.5 rushing yards per game on the road in 2 games. Now, I wanted to break this down because I think that these numbers don't tell the entire story. 220 versus the Washington Commanders. It's the worst of the year. 135 going up against the Dallas Cowboys the next week. 105 against the Kansas City Chiefs, who are not necessarily known to be a commit to the run type of team. And 152 last week against the Chargers. It's about how it's happening. The teams that are having success against the New York Giants running the ball, they're doing it with a few big plays a game. It's not what we saw last season, and you could say maybe you could argue over the last decade as far as how the New York Giants have struggled stopping the run. You had the 42-yard run from Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt in week 1. You had the 30-yard run from Javonte Williams in week 2. You had the 54-yard run and another big run last week against the Chargers from Omarion Hampton, who we really bottled him up for the first 3 quarters in that game. And you look at the Chiefs game, the longest run in that Chiefs game was 11 yards. And it wasn't even from a running back. It wasn't even from Patrick Mahomes. It was from like a tight end or something crazy like that. So for me, it's all about the New York Giants just being consistent. Iron out those deficiencies where you're allowing those 1 or 2 big runs a game. And I think that we'll see much better success against the run. Carl Banks was talking about this all week on Twitter. People were saying Bobby Okereke is looking like a shell of himself and all this stuff. And people just look at stopping the run as, hey, man, you guys got to get to the ball carrier. But what they don't understand is gap discipline. Yeah. And being that the New York Giants are so banged up at linebacker, you have players that are filling in at those positions that are less experienced. Darius Muwasawa is one of them. And on the big 54-yard run from Omarion Hampton last week, a lot of people were pinning that against Bobby Okereke when, in fact, it was on Darius Muwasawa for taking the wrong lane and also using the wrong shoulder, because gap contain is always about forcing the ball carrier back to the inside. And shout out to Deonte Banks, who's struggling doing that with quarterbacks. We got to find a way to be able to send these rushers back towards where the flow of the defense is coming from. Darius Muwasawa had a few bad reps on his tape last week, but I'm looking for him to correct these mistakes, and that's going to be on the coaching staff, but also going to be on the player as well. Muwasawa, it's not all bad either. Last week, led the New York Giants in tackles with 6 tackles. So he's a young player. This guy was not somebody that was drafted high in the draft. He's a guy that's going to have to find a way to correct some of these deficiencies. But for me, I think that he is a capable player. A lot of people are already writing him off. People just look at the results and go, oh, man, Dexter Lawrence is out here not playing well. Darius Muwasawa stinks, and Bobby Okereke is a shell of himself, and he's playing like trash. But really, it's just a few big runs that are making this New York Giants defense look like they're unable to stop the run. I saw some good things from Darius Alexander last week, and he's starting to look like the guy that we drafted, with higher draft capital at that position. And I think slowly but surely this New York Giants rush defense is going to get shit right, and we'll see a unit that looks much improved than what we saw last year.
That is very fascinating to me, because I love numbers. I love running the ball. I almost want to go and just, we don't like to do this very often because it's stupid, right? If you take away that one big run, it's, right? But I am curious to know, because the only reason why in this particular case I'm curious is because it's a pattern.
Yeah.
You laid out a pattern. And I think that's very interesting.
I think you could dismiss it week 1, right? Because y'all put up 220, right?
Yeah.
Against us.
Okay, yeah.
But when you look at it with Javonte Williams, just take away the 30-yard run. Instead of 135, you're looking at 105, right? Yeah. That's good. Yeah. You take away the 54-yard run from Omarion Hampton, we hold the Los Angeles Chargers to under 100 yards.
Yeah. It's interesting. It is very interesting. And it plays into part with one of the numbers I have highlighted here, which is the highest rushing yards per an attempt given up by defense in the National Football League is the New York Giants at 6.1 yards per attempt. That's an insane number. But it plays a lot to what you're talking about, some of these big runs here. And you're going to be, going up against an interesting trio in the backfield in New Orleans Saints, right? Because I almost wanted to jump in when you were like, you kind of compared Spencer Rattler to Justin Herbert. And
when you say trio,
yeah,
are you adding the guy coming off the PUP list?
No, I'm adding in Ratman.
There might be a.
I didn't even think about.
They might be a quartet.
Williams. Is there a Williams? Is Williams coming back?
Taysom Hill's coming off the PUP list.
Man, people forgot about him.
Yeah,
it was only like 2-3 years ago. He had like 25 rushing touchdowns.
Bro, getting tight end fantasy points, quarterback fantasy points, running back fantasy points, catching passes, doing it all.
Yeah. So it's gonna be. He's not eligible. He should be eligible. It's been 4 weeks, right?
He's practicing this week. Yep.
Practicing is.
Also with who's the other one that came off the PUP with him? Foster Moreau. Foster Moreau came off the PUP as well.
Tight end, yeah.
So if they want to run some 12 and shit like that.
Yeah, that's an. He's nowhere to be found in this through this little notepad right here. There is no Taysom Hill on there. But no, Spencer Rattler can move. He is very good with his legs. He's a different type of runner than Justin Herbert is. He's a lot more shifty.
A lot of people didn't like this comp that I was making during the draft season, right? I think Spencer Rattler plays the quarterback position very similar to Shedeur Sanders. Like, you know how people are always talking about the crafty mobility and he's more of an athlete than people give him credit for when speaking about Shedeur? I think that is a similarity that Spencer Rattler shares with him. It's like they're not fast. They're not going to be moving around the pocket with a bunch of lateral movement and making guys miss, but they're decisive enough to know when they see a lane to take it and be able to get those necessary yards.
Let me ask you this. Now, I'm not talking about overall quarterback, but I'm talking about with the legs. I think Spencer Rattler reminds me a little bit of Patrick Mahomes.
A little bit. Yeah. I think Patrick Mahomes is probably a bit more crafty, can make guys miss a little bit more, I would say. But definitely guys who are just not that mobile, but still find ways to get yards with their legs.
And the guy for me, obviously Alvin Kamara is a different breed of running back. And he still has never ran for over 1,000 yards.
Nope. Barely missed it last year.
One of the best running backs, in my opinion, in the NFL.
Top half for sure.
And I think he gets traded at some point this year before the deadline. That's my prediction. But I am Keandre Miller. He's a guy that I have been screaming from the top of the mountain for, which feels like 5 years.
Yeah,
he's been banged up, but I love him as a runner. And I think he had a really good game last week. And he's the guy that I think if they can get creative offensively and have some two backs sets going on, because that's where you could throw this New York Giants off.
Do you think that if the Giants have issues stopping the run in this game, let's say they get near the average that they've been allowing this year, and let's say, Keandre Miller and Alvin Kamara go for like over 150 yards. Do you think the Giants still got a shot to win the game if they can't stop the run?
I do.
Yeah.
But that's it's interesting because I was so impressed with that back half of the New York Giants defense. And I think that is something, given the opponent, can carry over into this week, right? The run defense is what I'm the most concerned about in this game, but it really comes down to scoring points for the New York Giants. I think it sounds cliche. It sounds easy, right? Scoring points. Yeah, you will win. But I do think that the New York Giants because I think this game will be close. I think it's going to be a tough matchup.
Yeah.
So they have to capitalize. Like you said, too, about the turnovers. I thought that was a really good point because the Saints are a 0 turnover differential. I think they have 2 or 3 turnovers on the season and 2 or 3 takeaways on the season. So, like, it's the points is the big thing because the Saints are giving up those crazy number of points, 30-plus points giving up a game, but they're middle of the pack in yards allowed for passing and rushing, 18th, 16th. So it's a really interesting sort of red zone game here where the Saints are horrible at red zone defense. The Giants are horrible at scoring in the red zone, right? The Saints are horrible on third down, and the Giants aren't really good at third down either. So that's why I said it's like, who can do what they haven't been doing good so far better in this matchup?
So that's a really good point. So how you feeling? I know you didn't pick the New York Giants last week. How you feeling this week going up against the Saints?
There's a couple of – I'm going to give you – this is a spoiler alert. a couple of things in this this week's Authentic of the Beard that the Beard has not done yet this year that he is doing for the first time.
He's picking us, huh?
I'm picking the New York Giants to win this game. 24-20.
I like that. I got the Giants at 24 as well. That's wild. We got our scores pretty close. I got the Giants at 24. I think they can win this one 24-13 against the Saints. You got to score early and score often. I did think that there was a bit of the old ways of Brian Daboll that trickled into last week, which was once he got the lead in that game, especially in the second half, it felt like he was doing everything in his power not to lose the game, not necessarily going for the win. Outside of the fourth down, missed red zone attempt to Wan'Dale Robinson with the drop that he had. Got to control the clock again. We won the time of possession last week. I'm looking for that this week. Keep it all in front of you from a secondary standpoint as well. The big play will kill the Giants more than allowing the Saints to run the ball on the ground effectively. If Rashid Shaheed can go out here and create one or two explosive plays, that could put the New York Giants in a very ill-advised place. So you got to limit the big plays. Contain the rushing attack as best as you can. Just don't allow those big plays. It's all about stopping the damn run, running the damn ball. Cam Scadaboo has had some success over the last 2 weeks. Continue to build upon that. I like the game plan from last week. We gave him 25 rushing attempts. I think that you can balance that out a little bit more because I think Devin Singletary had 7, I think it was, right? So balance that out. If Singletary can get a little bit closer to 10, maybe over that 10 mark, keep Scadaboo somewhere around that 19 to 20 mark, I think that'll be a bit more balanced. And again, something that the Giants did fantastic last week was finishing strong on defense. Those third down sacks that we got, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau getting after the quarterback, those are the type of things that I think that will lend well for the New York Giants to leave with a victory that a lot of fans are expecting to get the win. But this is one of those ones you do not want to fall into that Spencer Rattler trap thinking that he's some garbage quarterback just because he hasn't gotten a win. And quite frankly, for me, bro, it's like when you're 0-10 as a starter and your team is not giving up on you, that shows a lot of confidence in the quarterback position.
Especially after they just drafted somebody in the first round.
Who I thought should have been the starter in week 1. When I saw Tyler Shuck taking the preseason snaps, I just thought he was a bit more of a comfortable quarterback at the position than Spencer Rattler was. His big stature, obviously something that is a very attractive as an NFL coach. You think you can build upon that, but Spencer Rattler probably has just a couple of more weeks to go with, not winning games before the New Orleans Saints will make that turn. But me and the Beard are pretty much locked in. Both of us at 24 points, and you got him with 7 more.
Jaxson Dart, 3 passing touchdowns.
I'm not going quite there.
I'm going there.
I'll give you I'll say 3 total touchdowns.
Okay,
I'll say 3 total.
That's not
Are you
bad.
going to put any money on that?
On 3 passing touchdowns?
Yeah. Don't sound like it. I can just look in your face. It don't sound like it.
But I want to be on record, Yeah,
I feel you want to be on record.
I love that tweet, by the way, where you're like, "That's the best. One of the best things is we have our own receipts here on Authentic
all day long, all day." Somebody tried to call me out on a receipt on Twitter recently about he was calling Jalen Hyatt trash, right? And I was like, damn, that's kind of egregious to be on your couch calling somebody trash. And he said, oh well, you sitting up here on a high horse. Don't make me pull your receipts. And I was gonna be like, go pull the receipts. I don't call players trash. That's something that's not in my diction. I do not do that. Maybe I've slipped up here or there and said, hey, that team is trash or something like that. But even throughout the entirety of the Daniel Jones era, not once did I come up here and say, Daniel Jones is a trash quarterback. And I still won't say that because he's not a trash quarterback. That's just an egregious thing to say. So for me, I'm looking at this game as not a trap game, but it's definitely a game that I think we should not go in here, just expecting the W. You got to go out there and get that W.
Dart's got a chip on his shoulder, too. Saints passed up on him in this draft. Just going to lay that one out there.
Yeah, that's facts right there.
Big shout-out to JD Realty on YouTube with a $2 super chat. Says, I'm going to be ready. That's a quote from Jalen Hyatt. And a quote from JD Realty is, buddy, you better be. Fire emoji.
Yeah, but he's got an opportunity here, man. And, Jalen Hyatt was a guy that was very, just upset in the offseason and throughout the entirety of the regular season last year with the emergence of Malik Neighbors here taking over as the wide receiver 1 position. Not that was Jalen Hyatt's position, but here you are. Malik Neighbors goes down with a season-ending injury. Bro, you got 13 games to go out here and really prove yourself, man, and possibly, be the future for the New York Giants wide receiver 2 position. So I'm rooting like all hell for him, man. I want to see Jalen Hyatt go out here. He's capable, man. This dude put up 5 touchdowns against Alabama. He can do it. We saw it in his rookie season against the Arizona Cardinals as well, and a couple other games throughout his rookie season. Let's get back to that. There's no reason that you cannot utilize Jalen Hyatt as a down-the-field threat. Look at what the Denver Broncos have been able to do with Troy Franklin, who
Yep.
plays the position very similar. I'm not saying Troy Franklin's out here putting up 1,000 yards a year or no shit like that, but at least they're finding ways to be able to involve him in the offense. I expect the same for the New York Giants.
You need it. You need another weapon.
Absolutely.
Big shout out to B-Roll.
That's major right there. Can I get 50 of these real quick?
$50 super.
That's like when Sonic just getting the rings. Just
Going around with the stick. Man, I got a picture of us in the old room at Ma Duke's house, and the Sega Genesis is
Just
on the
chilling.
floor. The big box TV.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Big shout out B-Rock, $50 super chat says, I watched all 22 of the Giants game after my excitement about the win was over. But I like how you put that there because
Yeah,
it is
it's a good way
important
to
to
do
do
it.
after you're excited. Or disappointed in my case. During my analysis, I noticed that Carter would not run full speed to make tackles. One glaring example was on the Hampton run late in the fourth quarter. This concerns me. Does it concern you too?
Doesn't concern me. I know exactly the play. Backside pursuit from Abdul Carter, and bro, he was getting smoked. You saw Amarion Hampton. Look, that game proved to me and proving me wrong that Amarion Hampton is worth the first round pick. I've been saying it through the entirety of the draft process for a year and a half now. It feels like that Amarion Hampton was not worth the first round pick. I don't know if you saw the run, not the one he's talking about here, not the one B-Rock's talking about, but the run where Paulson Adebo met him at the line of scrimmage on the right hash. He was at about 2 yards, a 2-yard gain, when Paulson Adebo engaged with him. He dragged their asses 25 yards down the field, bro. They could not tackle him. This is something I'm not concerned about. People need to not forget that Abdul Carter is still a rookie, and he's still learning on the job as well. We can't expect a guy to come out here and be a juggernaut in the NFL this early on. But I know the player you're talking about here, B-Rog, but in my opinion, it was backside pursuit. He was going to get smoked regardless. And as soon as he realized he was smoked, he stopped. You don't necessarily want to see that from players, and I know fans love it when you can see an Elijah Chapman run 60 yards down the field to make a tackle on a running back, but in every case, it's not going to be that. Sometimes you do got to spare some of that energy and not waste the energy and go out there and play smart. But I like how you waited to go get the objective perspective, on looking at the All-22. I like to do that myself, man, and I went and looked at the All-22 on Tuesday. Look, Abdul Carter's a fucking force, man. That dude, forget that one play. Think about all the other plays where he was just fantastic getting after the quarterback. Unfortunately, could not get a full sack on Justin Herbert in that game, but I do expect him to get one here this week against Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, two things for me that will double down with that. I wouldn't be concerned for many reasons I wouldn't be concerned, but here's two. One being it's one play. You watched the all 22 of that game, and it was one play that made you think about this.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be concerned.
Good
Like
point.
if you saw him taking multiple plays off, maybe concerned. Number two, I wouldn't be concerned because, as Authentic said, he's a rookie, right? And it's the fourth quarter. You got to remember, I don't think some people realize, for somebody who watches a ton of college football, right? It's a lot easier to have a full motor for 4 quarters all the time when you got 30,000, 100,000 people going crazy in the background and you're playing against guys that, let's say, 75% aren't going to be in the NFL.
They're going to be driving some UPS trucks and selling
Exactly.
insurance and shit.
Selling insurance. So
No disrespect to that.
Yeah, no disrespect. We
Get how
all
you
need
live.
insurance. But the big difference is now you're playing against grown men who have been doing this for a long time. When you play so many plays in a game, it takes its toll on you.
This is a good point for the fans that keep saying, "Oh man, why is Abdul Carter not playing 90% of the fucking snaps and all?" This is a good point in that because maybe his motor is this early on in his NFL career is not suited to be out there for 100% of the snaps. Right?
And it's week 4. That will change as time goes on and you become accustomed with how to utilize your energy throughout a game as a professional. So I wouldn't be concerned.
Big facts, man. Big facts. Shout out to B-Rog for helping us raise the bar. That's a juggernaut right there of a fucking super chat too, bro.
Big shout out to Ralph Fletch with the $4.99 super chat. Says the Saints are going to stack the box. If we score first, play good D, convert third downs, we good. Dart will have to spread the ball around. And in order for him to spread the ball around, going to need some guys to step up. But I think that those are the maybe sound basics, but when you're a team that's, building, you got a rookie quarterback and no expectations, being able to do these things is how you build for the future. So I agree with you, Ralph.
Big facts. I love this statement here. There's one part that I'm, not that I disagree with, but that I'm unsure about, is the Saints stacking the box. And I'm so glad you brought this up because it wasn't in my notes. Last week, if you go, and B-Rog looked at the All-22, I'm sure he might have recognized this as well, but if you go back and you look at that first drive on the second half of the game where the Giants came out absolutely committed to the run to open up the second half. It's the drive where we got the big run from Jaxson Dart, but the penalty on JMS brought it all the way back. One thing I paid attention to, and I tweeted this out this past week, is that Cam Scatterbo going up against six-man fronts, there was never a time where he got negative yards. Literally, the dude was getting 4 and 5 and 7 yard chunks every time he went up against the six-man fronts from the Chargers, especially in that second half. Now, with Malik Neighbors out the game, I don't know if it's in the Saints' best interest to stack the box, because then if you put 8 men in the box, you're talking about one-on-ones on the outside with Darius Slayton, and whether it be Jalen Hyatt or Bo Collins, I think that's going to open up an opportunity for the New York Giants to create some of those explosive plays that probably wouldn't be there if you weren't stacking the box. I think that the Saints are, if I had to make a guess and bet on it, I think they're going to come out and commit to not stacking the box and kind of test the waters and see how the New York Giants perform in the first half against six-man fronts, maybe some seven-man fronts, and see how they, just test their luck and see how they get their results out of that. And if they're struggling to stop the run, then I think we might see some stacked boxes in the second half. But considering the style of running back that Cam Scatterbo is, I don't think that it's going to be necessary for the Saints to stack the box unless the Giants have a very, very concentrated effort at the running game and are picking up chunk yards and continuously getting first downs on those drives. But that's a fantastic point. I do agree with you. If we score first and play good defense, convert on third down, I don't even know if the convert on third down is as important as just scoring first, playing good defense, and playing with the lead.
That lead.
Yeah, the Giants should be able to win this game, no problem, man. But I love that. That's why I love our chat over here. Always bringing gems to the chat, man. Bring big shout out to Ralph, man, for helping us raise the bar over here as well, man. All right, so we got our final scores, Beard. You ready to jump into your game here?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm looking forward to this one. I just want to hear what the Beard has to say about his team.
I don't know if I'm looking forward to it anymore.
Listen, if y'all get a loss this week, it's gonna be panic time for them Washington Commanders. But y'all are traveling to Los Angeles here to take on the Chargers. This is gonna be a tough matchup. Let's get right into it.
He's elevated an otherwise average roster, made him a viable Super Bowl contender.
We're not there yet, and that's why I think in the early part of the season that identity is formed, not by what's called, but how you play it. And I'm watching the how a lot.
You said for some reason with Jayden Daniels, the rookie rules don't apply.
I can see the Beard getting extremely hyped backstage.
that Debo. Yeah. Like, I saw it earlier when you said it to me. I was like,
I'm up.
Sound like me when my mom was trying to get me ready to go to school in the
No
morning.
bullshit. I'm up, Ma. I'm up. All right, so we got the 2-2 Commanders taking on the 3-1 Chargers, suffering their first loss of the season to the New York Giants last week. Kickoff is Sunday, 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got the Chargers favored by 2.5. Last week, Commanders lost to the Falcons 34-27. Last meeting between these two teams, the Chargers did beat the Washington football team, maybe at that point in time in 2021, 20-16. This is Washington's first time playing the Chargers on the road since 2017, so these teams don't match up that much. The Commanders are looking to break a 3-game losing streak on the road versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Jim Harbaugh coming in 3-0 versus Washington in his career. Jayden Daniels expected to get the start, but that's not to throw any shade at Marcus Mariota, who filled in versus Atlanta last week and versus the Las Vegas Raiders in Week 3. Came out of that 1-1 in 2 games, 4 total touchdowns, 1 interception, and a quarterback rating of 99.6. 8 rushes for 60 yards. Marcus Mariota deserves those flowers, and
Absolutely.
I'm starting to think Marcus Mariota deserves a starting job in the NFL. I mean, this has been 2 seasons now that he's came in and filled in 2 games for Jayden Daniels. Not to say that it's over yet for this season, but in those 4 games, he's just been absolutely balling out. But we're going to get Jayden Daniels back this week. Should be a spark that should help out the Washington Commanders. the Chargers, their biggest issue last week was protecting Justin Herbert, and the sack numbers might not say it, but the pressure numbers do. He was pressured on 47.7% of his dropbacks versus the New York Giants. Already without Rashawn Slater. Now you're without Joe Alt, high ankle sprain. Mekhi Becton was dealing with the concussion. Got back to practice this week. He's out of the concussion protocol, so that's going to help him out a little bit. But the Chargers, man, they're super thin at the tackle position, and they need to get back to balance. You know, this was something that I encouraged Brian Daboll and the New York Giants to do, but the Chargers need to do this against the Washington Commanders so that my New York Giants have a shot in the NFC East. Last week, the Giants were able to just pin their ears back and go after the quarterback. 26 passing attempts in the first half. Omarion Hampton's averaging 10 yards per carry, but he only got 12 rushing attempts on the day versus the New York Giants. It's uncharacteristic. And uncharacteristic was the theme of that game, if you ask me, because Ladd McConkey and crew dealing with some drops, that's normally not outside of Quentin Johnston, you know, normally not their forte.
Not no more, though.
Yeah, this year, definitely been balling out. And I like that, man. I was a big supporter of Quentin Johnston when he was coming out of TCU. And, you know, wide receivers come in the league and drop the ball, and people just want to automatically write them off. And, you know, shout out to Geno Smith. These wide receivers don't got to write back. But if the Chargers can commit to the run, I think that they can take more shots down the field, which will open up their pass attack, and they'll be able to utilize more play action. The Commanders' defense has given up the 5th most explosive plays in the entire National Football League. That's one thing. You talked about Quentin Johnston. He's second in the NFL in receptions over 20 yards. 7 of those kind on the season already. The Commanders, the defense is really the problem. It's really the problem right now. I know the Beard was talking about, you know, pointing the finger at a lot of different departments, but it's really the defense and the pass defense in particular. They're allowing an average passer rating of 104.5 on the season. That's 5th worst in the NFL. So you're allowing the 5th most explosive plays, and you're allowing the 5th best passer rating from your secondary. And Washington is also allowing 248.5 passing yards per game. It's 27th in the NFL. Every team in the NFC East is ranked 17th or worst right now when you look at that. The Cowboys, Giants, and Commanders all in the bottom 10 in the NFL as far as passing yards per game allowed. Just not a good look. And we saw it last week. I didn't get a chance to really look at the game live when you guys were playing the Atlanta Falcons, but did get to go back and look at J.T. O'Sullivan's breakdown on Michael Penix Jr., who was basically carving y'all up all day outside of the one interception that was just a hair underthrown. Yeah. Allowed, I believe that was Mike Sanristo, to climb the ladder and go get himself an interception. But 313 yards through the air for Michael Penix Jr., 2 touchdowns through the air, and a completion percentage of 76.9 after coming into that game under 60% on the year. I think that says more about the Washington Commanders than it does about Michael Penix Jr., who, in my opinion, is a really good quarterback. But Washington's rushing attack is probably the most puzzling rushing attack in the entire National Football League. When I looked up these numbers, I had to do a double take, right? And really look at it and say, are they really second in the NFL in rushing? How the fuck?
We sure are.
220 versus the New York Giants.
Yep.
Then you come back with 51 versus the Green Bay Packers. 201 versus the Raiders.
Yep.
147 against the Atlanta Falcons last week. Now, we know, because me and the Beard talk about this all the time, about splitting rushing statistics from the quarterback position with the running backs. But mobility has been a thing, obviously, with both of the quarterbacks with the Washington Commanders. But the added bonus is Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Who said, I'm up.
I told everybody. They Deebo was fat. I say he's going to have his best year ever.
I think that people just project their own insecurities out there into the football world, right? Because, like, Deebo Samuel been doing this shit his whole entire career. All of a sudden he goes to the Commanders, and now he's fat and not going to get it done. Well, you guys don't think that Deebo's in the offseason bulking up, trying to put on the weight and then turn it into muscle? Obviously, right? But I think Deebo Samuel is that added 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th wheel, you could say, for the Washington Commanders rushing attack. But they are getting the most out of relatively unknown running backs in Jeremy McNichols, Chris Rodriguez Jr., and Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt.
Shout out.
Right? Now, the Chargers, they allowed 161 yards on the ground last week. And the Giants ran the ball 42 damn times last week. That just makes you want to.
You know I love that.
You got to love
Nothing
that,
like
man.
a good old malt liquor amount of carries.
A good old 40-ounce dosage of RTDB. You got to love it. But the Commanders, right? It's such a puzzling running back by committee, but it is a true running. I don't even want to say a running back by committee. It's a true rushing attack by committee, right?
They're all runners.
Commanders have not had a 100-yard rusher in a single game all year long. They also, which is the more apparent issue for me, have not had a 100-yard wide receiver on the year either. We know Terry McLaurin been banged up, but that's alarming. After you paid Terry McLaurin, I would have expected a 100-yard game. But the entire wide receiver corps basically did not participate in practice on Wednesday. No Terry, no Debo, no Noah Brown. Terry dealing with the quad, Debo dealing with the heel injury, and Noah Brown dealing with a groin injury. Now, the Chargers started out 3-0, and then they fell into a trap versus the New York Giants. The Commanders coming in at 2-2 with wins versus two teams that are a combined 2-6, 2 1-3 teams, the New York Giants and the Las Vegas Raiders. I think this screams a little bit of that Denver Broncos thing I've been talking about a lot, about winning and beating teams that are over 500, but I don't think that this is a favorable matchup for the Washington Commanders here. And I think that not only is it not a favorable matchup, but the Chargers coming in after losing to the New York fucking Giants, they are going to definitely be coming for blood here in this matchup.
Too?
At home against Washington Commanders. How do you see this playing out for your Washington commies?
Well, listen. Well, come on, man.
Commie. I could have said, I could have been more disrespectful. I could have been a lot more disrespectful. I could have said your Washington Mandy's.
The defense stinks. Last year, everybody was concerned about the rush defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, oh, Lattimore is going to be healthy. We drafted Trey Amos. We got rid of Benjamin St. Juste and no more Emmanuel Forbes. And, we brought in Will Harris, who's now gone out IR. So it's like, now here we are. Rush defense isn't too bad, but that secondary is atrocious.
Yep.
In 2024, how many 20-plus yard plays do you think the defense gave up in the whole season?
In 2024.
Yes, last year.
That's a tough question. This is going to be a random ass guess. I'm going to say 16.
10. They've given up 12 already this week.
10 is
this year.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Do you know where that ranked?
I have no idea. I do not know where that ranked.
I wonder where that ranked. That seems like it will be at the top of the league.
How many 40-plus yard plays do you think we gave up last
40,
year?
I'll say 4.
1. How many do you think we've given up this year?
4.
5. It's not good right now. This is one of the things that's interesting. It's the motion. The Washington Commanders don't know what to do with motion. The motion, any motion, the motion is killing us. Do you know how many yards the Washington Commanders have given up against motion, plays that consist of motion before the play begins, in games that they've lost?
I have no idea.
515 yards alone in just motion, pre-snap motion plays in the games that they lost. The tough part with
that nugget is that a lot of teams run pre-snap motion just as an identifier to find out if the defense is in man or zone, right? So you see not many teams are lining up and not running just motion before the snap, right? Yeah.
The Eagles
maybe on some running plays, but passing plays in particular, you definitely want those identifiers.
In the games that we've won, we've only given up 105 yards in plays that consist of pre-snap motion. Okay, there's an issue going on. Now, Bobby Wagner, who is the only player in the National Football League this year to have 10 or more tackles in every single game so far. But he can't cover and pass. And how did I not say this all of the entire preview show last week? I talked about how, if Atlanta can run play action, Washington's going to be in trouble. And sure enough, we have trouble guarding with our linebackers right now. That's
something that you should keep them out of harm's way. We're talking about the modern version of football in 2025, right? Your inside linebacker should. How many inside linebackers across the league can cover? Fred Warner comes to mind. That's it.
Yeah.
He was a former safety. When he first got to college, he was a fucking safety. So that kind of makes sense, right? But I look across not only our division, but I look across the league. To me, that's a coaching deficiency, right? Your inside linebacker should not have many duties and coverage outside of being a guy that just stands in the middle of the field. we don't even see teams playing Tampa 2 anymore where you see linebackers running 30 yards down the field anymore. When I saw Bobby Wagner, not this past week, but the week before that, where he got beat on that deep play where he was just like, he didn't know where the fuck he was. He's just looking around like, why am I even 35 yards down the field trying to check somebody? Where's the fucking help? So I do think that is something that you got to point the finger at the coaching staff a little bit as well.
And I think that, somebody had asked a question. They said, if you could only change one thing, right, about the Washington Commanders defense, what would it be? Now, a lot of people said, they would bench Marshawn Lattimore.
No, I'm not doing that.
To
bring in somebody else, like a better player that's not on the team?
That was my answer to that.
You're right.
Who?
Yeah, who's stepping up? When you put him on the bench, who's playing?
I guess you could move Mikey to the outside and put Noah I in at the inside. You could do that, right? But I mean, and maybe some people say we'll put Marshawn Lattimore at safety. But what's interesting is that
motherfuckers be thinking this shit Madden, bro. Like, let's put Mike Vick at cornerback since he fast. You remember when we used to do that back in the day on Madden? Or like, let me take the fastest player on defense and put him at tight end, run seams all day long. Like, this is not fucking Madden.
Listen, you know how you talked about gap discipline, right?
Yeah.
For the Giants. Defense is so much about discipline, right? And a lot of that is people don't think about what that takes in the back end of a defense. They don't realize that. Like, if you're in zone, you have to be disciplined. You have to know the communication is so important. You got to know when you're passing a guy off, when you're not passing the guy off, stuff like that. And a lot of that is what leads to bad communication, the bad discipline. That's what leads to busted coverage, blown coverage, which leads to big plays, right? So that's something that they need to clean up in the back end because it's bad right now. And not only that, the missed tackles. There was so many plays in that Atlanta game where you're just like, literally a 4-yard loss turned into a 25-yard gain. What are we doing? Like, those are the sort of things that, like, when I said that, when we opened up the show and I said the magic is gone.
Yeah.
Right? I said the magic is gone. It's time to play football. The missed tackles, like that sort of stuff, like, Jayden Daniels ain't tackling nobody. Right? Like, these are the things that when I say you got to get back to playing football. 9th most missed tackles in the National Football League. It's bad. It's bad. I don't even want to tell you the number. Let's just say it's up there with as many times as I like to see them run the ball in a game. Okay? And that's like 10 a game.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not good. So, like, these are the sort of things you have to do. Like, and so maybe play more man, blitz more. You got to find a way to get in order to reconcile a bad back end. You have to get pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah,
right?
and if you send that blitz at Justin Herbert, he's amazing under pressure.
Yeah,
there were times where Abdul Carter got to the quarterback so fucking fast, him and Brian Burns, and Justin Herbert just gets that ball out quick and accurate.
So then you got to play man press.
Mm-hmm. And still get beat.
And that's a problem because we haven't played very well in man press, which is you see some of these cushions that the corners are giving. It's weird. So I think it's a lot of that stuff's going to have to change. We have the 10th lowest pressure rate on defense, 5th lowest hurry percentage on defense. We allow the 6th most passing yards per game. Our rush defense, like I said, is not that bad. We're just allowing just a pinch over 100 yards. But don't get twisted. You saw what Amarion Hampton could do. He made a believer out of Authentic. I don't want him to make a believer out of everybody else here in Northeast D.C. Please don't. I do not need that, okay? And this is the other thing. I mean, we were pretty good on third down this year. Last week, we were awful. Like, I think we were the number 1 third down defense going into we were a lot of things going into the game last week that we are not anymore after last week's performance. So, like, that's some of the stuff. I mean, and you're going up against the Chargers offense that can throw the ball. 5th most passing yards in the league. They have allowed some sacks, though. That's why I said it's going to be key to get that pressure. No Joe Alt. Shout out Notre Dame Irish. You mentioned that. No Slater, obviously. So can you get to Justin Herbert? They have allowed the 8th most sacks in the NFL, but they got weapons.
And they're dropping back, throwing the ball a ton. I mean, 47 times against the Broncos, 41 times against the New York Giants. So, you're putting your quarterback in harm's way. And I do expect Harbaugh to come in here and correct some of that. Like, if this game goes according to schedule for the Chargers, Justin Herbert's going to throw the ball around 25 to 28 times.
And it's going to be an interesting coaching matchup in this game, right? Not a lot of what did these coaches change from last week into this week, and a lot of in-game chess, which is what has been I can be critical of with this coaching staff, not just, across the board, offense, defense, head coach. There's a lot of questionable tactics at the end of the second half. Timeout usage has been really poor this year for the Washington Commanders, that sort of stuff. I mean, the Chargers, they have the 5th best third down offense in the league. 43, almost 44% conversion percentage on third downs. You're going to have to find a way to get off the field. And that's what's going to be important.
Last week, too, they were 4 for 12 against the New York Giants.
And I think I would take 4 of 12 for my defense. That's that's 30,
4 total
30%.
third down conversions in a game is good. The percentage not maybe where you want it to be if you're ramping up the amount of third downs, but just 4 total, that'll put you all in position to win.
Especially with that quantity of third downs, 12. So that means you're doing something good on first and second down. There's a lot of injuries here. You mentioned it. Terry McLaurin is at practice today. I did see that. I've been keeping up with that. But all those guys are at practice, but they're on the side.
Yeah.
Now I don't expect Terry McLaurin to play. I'm going to say that right now. I don't expect Terry McLaurin to play. I don't expect Noah Brown to play. I'm hoping Deebo Samuel plays because he's the one that's worrisome the most.
No Deebo, no W.
Yeah.
Yeah. Simple as that for me.
So that's something that I'm concerned about is the injuries. You're going to have to get back to running the ball. They kind of fell off a little bit of running last week as far as the amount. That they are number 3 in the NFL right now in red zone percentage, 77.8%. But they're going up against, it's a lot different than New York Giants 24, whatever you guys are.
The red zone numbers in the last couple of years have been so high. Somebody had brought it up on the Giant Overreaction about how when I was saying that the New York Giants were at 40% in the game and that was an improvement, when I went and I looked at all the red zone statistics efficiency-wise over the last 2 seasons, like, man, there were so many teams in the 70s. It was ridiculous. Like, I would just – what I would do to be a team that could convert in the red zone 70% of the fucking time, man. Be crazy, man. Be crazy.
So there's some things that one of the biggest differences, I think, with Jayden Daniels, outside of just having Jayden Daniels, right, is going to be third downs. Yeah. Because that's what's super important. And we're 6th worst in the National Football League right now on third down conversion. That is a massive difference from last year to this year. We were one of the best third down teams in the NFL last year throughout the entire season. So I think that's a big difference with Jayden Daniels because that is the Jayden Daniels effect, is being able to convert on those third downs that you normally wouldn't be able to convert on without a player like Jayden Daniels.
Totally.
But you're going up against the Chargers. The Chargers are good, man. They have the 5th most sacks in the NFL. So Jayden Daniels a little bit rusty, may or may not be wearing a knee brace. So
you better wear that knee brace.
He's you know how it is with people. I don't like the knee brace.
Shit, not me. When that knee had any little minor tweak, I'm doubling the braces up. Fuck that. That shit is not gonna give out on me.
Give me the full body brace.
Facts, bro. Facts.
So I mean, this is, like you said it. This is not an ideal matchup. There's nothing really going for the Washington Commanders here.
It's tough.
You're on the road.
I can't remember the last time you did not pick the Commanders to win a game. So when we do get there, I'm going to be excited to hear your thoughts on if you're going to pick your team to win in this matchup that just everything is pointing in the favor of the Chargers, in my opinion. They're coming off that tough loss to the New York Giants. Started off the year against 3 divisional opponents and won all of those games. Pretty impressive. Defense coming out balling. Didn't show the same effort against the New York Giants. This just says that the Washington Commanders aren't going to win. So I'm looking forward to this roadmap. I'm looking forward to seeing, like, how the fuck we going to get there.
Win, lose, or tie. I still got to give the directions to how to get to victory.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
All right, let's get to it, man. Roadmap time. Let's get to it.
That's literally Jayden Daniels about ready to drive in LA right now. This is the officially unofficial, sponsored by Waze roadmap to victory for your Washington Commanders. Listen, the Washington Commanders got to do this. I don't know what is happening, but they got to find.
That's the roadmap. We got to do this.
You got to find a way to force some turnovers, man. They got the one interception. That's it. Like, what are we like? Put your head on the ball, punch the ball out, tip some passes, do something. We need to force some turnovers. Two turnovers. If the New York Giants can force 2 turnovers, I expect the Washington Commanders to do the same thing.
Don't do me like that.
We just absolutely got torched by the Atlanta Falcons. We gave up more 20-yard plays versus the Atlanta Falcons than some teams have allowed the entire season. I expect you to allow, and you're going up against Quentin Johnson, who leads, pretty much second place, I believe.
Second place, yep.
Okay.
7 explosives on the year, over 20 yards.
I need no more than 2 plays over 20 yards allowed by the Washington Commanders defense. That's going to be a drastic change from the equation last week. Listen, we got to get back to the RTDB. I need at least 30 rushes. I don't care if it's from Billy, Bob, or Thornton. I need 30 rushes from the rusher by committee, and I need at least 200 yards on the ground.
Damn.
Next up, if you want to win this game, you have to do something that you have not been able to do in any other game this year, which is crazy to me. Win the time of possession. The Washington Commanders have not won the time of possession in one single game this year. You're going to need to be able to do that. And last but certainly not least, I'm just going to be hella honest with you. If you want to win, you're going to have to score at least 30 points. That's it. You got to score at least 30 points if you want to win the game.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a tough road. It's a little potholes. Some potholes there.
All right, we're going to let you go first on this one. No, let me get mine out the way. Because yours is going to be a little bit more dramatic, I think. I'm going to go Chargers come out and score some good points in this game. I'm going to go 29-24 in favor of the Los Angeles Chargers.
Listen, you guys know I'm a realist here. There's no sugarcoating candy canes, rainbows, and unicorns over here. All right? We keep it real. I'm going to take the Los Angeles Chargers to win this game.
I'm surprised, bro.
And I'm going to make it really close because then I feel like I almost picked the Washington Commanders to win. I'm going to take the Los Angeles Chargers 28, Washington Commanders 27.
Close scores. I think we kind of view this game pretty similar. Do you know who y'all got the following week?
We might have a division game. No. I don't know off the top of my head.
Let me look that up real quick.
I remember it getting a little dicey.
I did see we got a couple other super chats as well, too. So I'll look that up, and you can handle these super chats one time.
All right. Big shout out to Lou Mateo with a $2 super chat. Says, don't be mad. UPS is hiring. Shout out Biggie. Rest in peace. One of my favorite rappers of all time. Appreciate that,
I love that,
Lou.
man. Big shout out Lou Mateo with the bars one time.
Big shout out to Danny Thomas with a $5 super chat. Says Commanders, still the Redskins, should run the damn ball via Debo the sweep and run between the tackles. They need the defense to get off the field. 1,000%. You know I'm all about that. The problem is you can't run Debo sweeps like once every drive. You know what I'm saying? Like those are things that have to be sprinkled in, because then it just becomes those are a little bit easier to diagnose for a defense, so you can't do it too often. Running between the tackles is interesting. We did open the return window on Sam Cosmi, so I think that's something that you'll hopefully see a little bit more moving forward. McNichols is more of the guy that I think you run between in the tackles. I think all the running backs are capable of doing it, but I think this, obviously if we have Bates out there at tight end, he's one of the best blocking tight ends in the NFL. That allows you a little bit more leeway on the outside, but it's an interesting thing. I don't care if you run the ball between the tackles, the tight ends, the wide receivers, as long as you're running the ball. Just run the ball.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I definitely hear you on that. A straightforward attack will definitely benefit the Commanders in this game, though. The The sweeps to Debo. It's important to at least get Debo involved, but I don't think it necessarily has to be like jet sweeps. You can find other creative ways to get the ball to Debo. I want to ask Danny this because I noticed a theme with the people that want the Redskins. They want that name to stay.
Or if they're white.
If they're white. I want to know if Danny Thomas is black or white because it just seems like I always see a lot of white people that are always just like, yo, nah, man, they're still the Redskins. How come we don't do that with the Oilers, right? We don't still call the Tennessee Titans the fucking Oilers anymore. I know they didn't go through was it 3 name changes in like a 2-year span or some shit like that? Nah, but shout out Danny Thomas, man, for helping us raise the bar over here on Authentic in the Beard. And we got one more from Lou Mateo.
Big shout out to Lou. Lou who? Lou Mateo with a $2 super chat. Says, shit, knee brace plus copper fit knee sleeve. Might as well throw in a pair of the copper fit socks too.
The copper fit, you want a telling sign that you old as fuck? You got a copper fit knee sleeve in the crib. You know what it is. Shout out my dog,
those
Mateo.
little bands that go around to have like magnets inside of them. You know?
Yo, all you know them. They cater them joints to straight up triple OGs, man. Shout out my dog Lou Mateo, man, helping us raise the bar one time, man. Shout out to all of y'all in the building too. We see y'all in the chat. We just trying to kind of keep things a little bit decisive here over here on Authentic in the Beard. I think we did get through the all of the super chats here. We got the Beard's favorite segment coming up next, man.
I don't know if you saw the clip or not. Shout out to my Viva Los Rams announcer who did the call on the Tutu Atwell touchdown.
Beautiful.
I mean, I was like, this guy sounds like the Beard with the touchdown. I was like, I love it.
Who was the running back that
J.K. Dobbins.
That was hilarious, dog. That was good. That was good right there. Shout out to all them Telemundo folks out there one time. My ESPN Ocho vibes and shit. Y'all know what it is.
All right. Everybody's favorite segment is up here. It is Rapid Fire with Authentic in the Beard. Up first on the Crossfire board, it is the Dallas Cowboys, who are 1-2-1. They are 2.5-point favorites. They're headed up to New York to face Jets, who are 0-4.
I can't believe they're 0-4.
The over-under in this game is 47.5. That is not the amount of points that the Dallas Cowboys are over-under giving up. That is the total points over-under, 47.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Couple of strays there. Authentic, tell me what you got.
Got a bunch of Dodger bullets over here for my Cowboys homies. Cowboys, though, I know you talked about the defense. That defense is allowing 33 points per game. That's pretty shit. But that offense is averaging 28 points per game. So looking forward to seeing how they perform. Dak Prescott playing some of the best ball of his career here. The Jets are just as bad. They're allowing 30 points per game as well.
That's what's crazy to me. How do we have two teams that are allowing 30 points and the over-under is 47.5?
Doesn't make any sense, but I'm smashing the over on this one for sure. Dak Prescott put up 40 points last week versus the Packers, 319 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And it still wasn't enough for the victory, man. Monique came through. We watched the game and whatnot.
Prime time.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Jordan Love's been. Yeah, I'm kind of detaching myself from the doppelganger vibes, man. It's just it hasn't been that good. But Monique came by. We watched the game. Very on the edge of your seat type of game here. Prescott just has to worry about not turning the ball over. He had the 2 interceptions against the Chicago Bears a week before that, and that was the big reason why they got blown out the way that they did. So I think taking care of the ball is number one for this Dallas Cowboys defense. The Jets, 0-4, right? But 3 losses by less than 6 points. 34-32 against the Steelers, 29-27 against the Tampa Baker Buccaneers. That's a really good team. Steelers are a pretty damn good team. Aaron Rodgers playing some of the best quarterbacky football in the league right now. He's at the top of the league as far as touchdowns go. When you talk about passing touchdowns, it's Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers. You got guys like Daniel Jones up there as well. You got guys like Justin Herbert.
Jones.
But they did get the Jets did get blown out against the Buffalo Bills. So when you put them up against a really good team, obviously not in their type of class there. But coming off the Thursday Night Football loss, I think, gives some extra rest. But I don't know, man. Don't think it's going to be enough. Give me the Dallas Cowboys in this one. I'm taking the over. I got the Dallas Cowboys covering.
It's crazy because Monique watched the first half of that game here and watched the second half.
She was trying to convince me to come out there, and I was like, "Yeah."
I told her, I said, "There's no chance in hell that all things coming out here."
It was a good alley oop too, because she was like, "Just catch the Uber out here. I'll drive you back." But I was still like, "Bro, I drank like."
I saw that Four Roses bottle in the store.
Bro, I drank like half that bottle, and no one was helping me. And Monique came over and was like, "Can I have some tequila?" I'm like, "All right, well, I guess I'm drinking this whiskey alone, you know." So, yeah, but I'm taking Dallas.
I'm gonna pick the Dallas Cowboys. I think I would be too much of a non-believer if I didn't pick the Dallas Cowboys to win this game. I think the Dallas Cowboys 27, New York Giants 24. New York Jets 24. So I'll take the over as well. And I think they cover the spread. So shout out to all the Dallas Cowboys fans in the chat. You guys might get a victory.
I think they do. The only thing that's against the Cowboys in this game is the Jets coming in at 0-4. I don't know if you saw Aaron Glenn in practice. There's some clips going around. He was wearing boxing gloves, and because of all the turnovers they had last week,
he just
literally
around.
Not even like during plays, bro. He's just sneaking up on players, like he's just trying to punch the ball out, like doing regular ass drills. I never seen a head coach doing something like that. So there is that extra emphasis here to win that game. So I'm still going to take the Cowboys, but I think it'll be a close game.
This will be interesting to see with the Dallas Cowboys defense. That's what I'm most looking at. I want to see how bad that defense really is. Because
it's going to be bad.
Okay. All right. Up next, the Denver Broncos, who are 2-2. They are headed to the city of brotherly love to face the Philadelphia Eagles, who somehow, some way, are 4-0. They are 4.5-point favorites. The over-under in this game is 43.5. Kickoff is also at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Listen, this is a game where you're like, okay, eventually the Philadelphia Eagles luck is gonna run out, right? We're gonna get to that point eventually. It's just gonna happen. Shout out to the fake tush push, by the way. Beautiful. I just feel like the Eagles are trolling the rest of the NFL at this point with everything. So I just. And J.K. Dobbins, we talked about him just briefly because of his amazing
taking carries from R.J. Harvey. I don't like it.
I love it because I'm a J.K. Dobbins guy.
Every year, J.K. Dobbins. Every fucking year. I was talking to Mike Swan about this yesterday, too. Last year, at this point, after 4 games,
he was the leading runner in the National Football League.
He had more rushing yards than he had this year, and he's having an incredible start to the year already. Listen, J.K. Dobbins, it happens every year. That running style is just not something that you can consistently rely on and get results from. It's just going to start to go like this, inch by inch by inch, game by game by game. And then maybe R.J. Harvey will get the opportunities that I know he deserves.
It's possible. But there's something missing from this Denver team that if it was there's something missing from the Eagles team, but they're 4-0 because they have enough stuff to make up for that missing thing. The Denver Broncos don't have that. I can't put my fingers on it.
Weapons. They
is
lack
it weapons? I didn't want to be easy, but I guess it is weapons.
No bona fide wide receiver one, and then you don't have like Sutton. I like Sutton too, but wouldn't he be better? He's like Drake London. If you had another wide receiver 1A or B over there, it would benefit him that much more. And I just think, when you got a quarterback like Bo Nix that already is like not a guy who naturally wants to push the ball down the field, I do think he's going to have some opportunities in this game to do it, though.
Yeah, I don't see them finding a way to win without that missing piece. I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles to win. I'm going to take that 4.5 is interesting. I have my score written down as 21-17. I'm going to take the Eagles to win. I think the Broncos cover, and I think we go under 43.5.
I like that. I'm still going to take the over in this one, though. Little nugget alert here. The Eagles can become the first team to begin 5-0 3 times in a 4-year span since the Indianapolis Colts did it back in the Peyton Manning era. And head coach Nick Sirianni can become the second coach ever to begin 5-0 in 3 of his first 5 seasons, joining Pro Football Hall of Famer Paul Brown. That's the only other coach that has ever done that. So, I know everybody was talking about firing Nick Sirianni a couple of years ago, but that dude, he's on the T-Pain vibes. All he do is win. That's all he do. And it's another year, another offensive coordinator is Kevin Patullo this year for Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts is out here, and we talked about, people aren't making any excuses for him, and he's not going to make any excuses for himself. He's the first quarterback in NFL history with 5 touchdown passes, 4 rushing touchdowns, and no interceptions in his team's first 4 games of the season.
He didn't complete a pass in the second half last week.
Yeah,
right?
didn't need to, right? When you have those kind of weapons, I know there's been a lot surrounding A.J. Brown and, being a diva and wanting the ball more, right? But those be the type of things that keep winning teams as winning teams, not being content. Like, yeah, we're 4-0. I still want the fucking ball. Get me the ball.
And I think I think we get to this point at least once every year where somebody makes up some story about how A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts hate each other, right?
Yep, every year. People are talking about in the Giants community, we should try to trade for A.J. Brown. I'm like, you really think they're going to fucking trade their best wide receiver in division to the New York Giants? Not going to happen. And with this offense not clicking the way that people expect it to be clicking, they're still averaging 27 points per game. Teams are selling out to stop Saquon Barkley right now. He don't got a 100-yard game on the season. He's averaging 3.1 yards per carry, which is not good. So I think that this is on Kevin Patullo here to find ways that if teams are going to stack the box, focus on Saquon Barkley, which as a New York Giants fan, I know all about that. Well, you got to find a way to stretch the field and get the ball into the hands of your playmakers. Saquon does have 3 touchdowns on the year already, and the Broncos defense is extremely stingy against the run. They're only allowing 99.3 rushing yards per game. That's 11th in the NFL, but I continue to say it. I don't trust the fucking Broncos to beat good teams. They don't beat teams over 500. Last year, just one win against teams over 500, which was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then they, last game of the year beat the Chiefs without their starters. So you look at their 2 wins on the season, Tennessee Titans and a Joe Burrow-less Cincinnati Bengals. Give me the Eagles. I'm taking the over, and they're going to cover.
And last but certainly not least, the game that will produce the official Authentic in the Beard parlay, which we came up a little short last week. We had 2 running backs. We hit everything except for the 2 running backs scoring touchdowns. And 2 running backs did score touchdowns, but it was the backup running backs to the 2 running backs we selected. So,
just taking dogs out when you get in the red zone. I played the same ticket, and it pissed me off watching that game.
The San Francisco 49ers, who, God, I have no idea how, are 3-1. They're headed to L.A. to face the Rams, who are 3-1. The Rams are a whopping 7.5-point favorites. The over-under in this game is 43.5. Kickoff is at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
That spread is too large. Off the break, I think the 49ers are going to cover. I mean, look at how the Los Angeles Rams performed against the Colts last week. I mean, it really took an amazing effort in that fourth quarter to come away with that victory. But the Rams offense, I do think that they have some deficiencies in the secondary, right? I like the young pieces on the defense, but their offense is just fucking incredible right now. I know they're only averaging 25 points per game, averaging 120.8 rushing yards per game. Kyron Williams, 4.5 yards per carry. They're finally starting to get Blake Corum in the mix, 5.2 yards per carry. He's got 120 yards on 23 attempts on the year. But this is all about Puka Nacua, who might put up like a repeat performance of what we saw in that incredible year that he had. He leads the league in receptions over 20 yards. He's got 8 of them. So Quentin Johnston is just right behind him. We're only 4 games into the season. He's already halfway to 1,000 yards. He's got 50 targets already in 4 games. 42. He's caught 42 of his 50 targets for 503 yards. He's averaging, that Puka is averaging 125.8 yards per game right now.
That's nasty.
It's nasty. And the number that completely stood out to me when I was looking at his numbers, in 4 weeks of football, he's got 26 first downs. That just makes no fucking sense. And Matthew Stafford,
number 1.
It's got to be number 1.
I mean, I'm saying he's a wide receiver 1.
It's now you understand why they allowed Cooper Kupp to leave Los Angeles. You understand it because Puka Nacua is just that guy, and considering that McVay got him on day 3, it's just incredible. But I know a lot of Giants fans wanted to run victory laps in the first week after you saw Matthew Stafford, and they were like, "Oh, thank God we stayed away from that shit," and whatever the fuck, right? I think people need to put some fucking respect on Matthew Stafford's name. I would have traded whatever the fuck it would have took to bring in Matthew Stafford. I don't care if he would have been here for 1 year. To have that kind of tutelage in front of a guy like Jaxson Dart would have been amazing. He's second in the NFL in passing yards right now. He's already got 1,114 passing yards on the season. 278 per game, 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The longest play of the season by any quarterback came with that 88-yard touchdown pass to Tutu Atwell last week against the Colts. Matthew Stafford he's him. He's him, bro. I don't know if you got a chance to see the movie. If you need the link too, I could bless you with it. But
What,
the him
Cocaine
movie,
Cowboy? Oh no,
nah, him. The Jordan Peele produced movie.
Yeah, with not Jamie.
It's got
Wayans.
Marlon Wayans,
Yeah.
in it, and Marlon Wayans has a really good performance. A lot of disconnect in the movie. It's not that great of a movie. I'll keep it real with you, but Matthew Stafford's him, and I expect him to be him in this game. And this is one of those games that you need Matthew Stafford to put this offense on his back and handle business. I'm going to take the 49ers to cover, but I'm going to take the Rams to win, and I'm going to take the over on this one.
Can you name any of the wide receivers for the San Francisco 49ers in this game?
Yeah, Ricky Pearsall.
Nope. Gone.
Oh,
Out.
in this game.
Yeah, in this game.
Is Juwan Jennings out?
Gone. Out.
Is it Juwan Jennings? Are there
Yep.
two
It's-
Juwan
yep.
Jennings and they're just spelled differently? Yeah,
Yep.
that's what it is.
Yep.
So after that, we got fuck if I know. Who is it?
You got Kendrick Bourne,
Okay, capable,
Demarcus Robinson, former Los Angeles
former Ram. Okay, we got
Sky
a little
Moore.
intel. Sky Moore was a letdown with Kansas City.
and Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
All right,
Those
it's
are
not too
your
bad.
those are your
Not too bad.
available wide receivers tonight in the San Francisco 49ers game.
I
with
thought
Mac
it was going to
Jones.
be like David Sills levels of, depth out there. So
Well, no, I mean, it's crazy. They've been killed by injuries, the San Francisco 49ers.
how long is Pearsall supposed to be out?
I think I don't. He's not on IR candidate. I think he has a rib issue, if I'm not mistaken.
I like Pearsall, man. He's very capable wide receiver. Them injuries
he's
getting in the
been-
way of his development.
He's done really well so far this year. So, yeah, I'm gonna. It's just tough for me to pick the San Francisco 49ers. I think the Rams win. I think the Rams cruise in this game. I'm curious about the 49ers defense. I feel like they've been pretty good this year. Yeah, 15 points, 21 points, 13 points, 23 points. Those are all
Who are the games against again? Just so I know the
Arizona,
competition.
Saints, Seattle, and Chargers.
Chargers, okay. First three
But that was the first game. And that's the most points they allowed of all the games.
was against the Chargers. Okay,
Yeah.
makes
All right,
sense.
yeah. I'm going to take the Rams to win. I'm going to take the Rams to cover, and I'm going to take the over.
I like it. I like it. So we're gonna put together a little parlay.
Yes, we're going to put together a little parlay. We got to figure it out. We both like the Rams to win. Maybe you like San Francisco to cover. So maybe we'll pick the Rams to win by a little bit more than
I don't know, man.
7.5.
My Thursday night football like radar as far as the scores. I kind of been going back looking at the last couple of weeks. I've been fucking shit up. I ain't even gonna lie.
I did really well. I picked the exact score last week.
Yeah, you killed that.
Oh, I should probably do
Exact
that right
score.
now. I'll give you Los Angeles Rams 24, San Francisco 49ers 17.
Rams 24-17. I'm going to go with a little bit more points from the Rams. Give me the Rams 30-22. But I said they're going to cover those. So
I said that they were going to go over too. That's not
Yeah.
over, is it? No.
Let me get 30 to let me go 30-25. How much were they favored by?
7.5.
Let's go 30-24. Correct it. 30-24. Yeah.
Okay, so then I'll make sure I cover the spread. So I will do 27-17. That makes 44 points. Yeah. 27-17 will be my final score.
Good stuff, man. Big shout out to the gang. Let me just make sure we got all of our boxes
Yeah, make
checked,
sure you
and
guys
we
are.
didn't.
Oh yeah, big shout out to Joseph Winograd with $10 super chat. Says, want to shout out you guys. Y'all are showing everyone how to be fans of rivalry teams and still be your best. Love the positive vibes, fellas.
Love it, bro.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, my dog. Thank you for helping us raise the bar too.
It looks
Joseph
like he has
always,
authentic in the beard in his chat. I mean, is it?
Nah, that look like Eli Manning and somebody. It's very little for me. But shout out to Joseph, man. He's been one of the more constant supporters of this channel, always popping in on the Giant Overreaction, always here for the preview shows. And shout out to all of y'all that, stick around for like what's not necessarily New York Giants football. And at the end of the day, the reason why me and the Beard like to focus around the whole entire division is because it'll make you that much more knowledgeable about what's going on around your own division and what's going on around the league. And not even just for people in the chat, for me and him as people that are coming up here and hosting the show. It's like, I don't know, man. You can't just pay attention to just your team because then you get kind of, just what's the word I'm looking for? Like when your focus is too narrow
You have
on
blinders
something.
on.
Yeah, it's like you kind of blinded by what's going on around the league. So It's good to see people appreciating that. I saw somebody left a comment on the last video about that as well. Just having takes and supporting it with data as well, and not just coming up here and just telling you my opinions and the Beard's opinions as fans. So shout out to Joseph for real recognizing real, man. Big salute to you, my dog.
That.
Beard, any last words before we get up out of here?
Nope. Same old. Appreciate all the love and all support. Make sure you guys are following us on Twitter at Tim Walk on Water 2 and at Authentic. We will give you the official Authentic in the Beard parlay. Try to get back to over 500 on our hits for the season on Thursday Night Football parlays. I hit 3 parlays on Monday Night Football.
Ooh, good look.
Yeah,
good look.
It was a good night. Good night. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And we appreciate everything. You guys, we would not be able to do this without you guys. This is awesome every time we get up here and do this. So thank you guys very, very much.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Always good to come up here and talk ball. Shout out to the chat, man. We had the entire gang in the building rocking out with us today. We appreciate y'all support. Let's get some biceps in the chat before we get up out of here, man. Salute to y'all. Y'all know we can't do this without y'all, and y'all know how we end every show over here on Authentic in the Beard. Keep raising that bar. Keep living those dreams, because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound, and a life without dreams is a life in black and white. Rest in peace to the podcast GOAT and New York legend, Combat Jack. And that is a wrap. Hopefully the New York Giants can find a way to play in Technicolor on Sunday and come away with another victory against the Saints. And listen, I as much as I would love to root for the other teams in the NFC East this week, I hope all y'all motherfuckers lose, man. I got to keep it real with y'all, man. We appreciate y'all spending y'all time with us. We'll be back on Monday for the Giant Overreaction and, continuously trying to raise the bar and give y'all that high-level content that y'all definitely deserve as New York Giants fans, especially because it's been a tough couple of years, man. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Thursday afternoon. I know I will, man. I'm going to kind of just chill out, celebrate here a little bit. I got my homie Chaz pulling up. Day off tomorrow, Beard, so I'm definitely going to enjoy it. You, on the other hand?
No days off.
Daddy daycare. No days off over there, man. Y'all stay blessed. We'll catch y'all on the next one, y'all. Peace.